Hi, everybody. I hope you're doing well. I decided to record another video message, bit more personal way to talk to you about a few things. And first of all, I wanted to say thank you all very much for being there in the various ways that you are. And I wanted to, express that besides that we are making sure together that the formal structure is functional of Ruralis. I personally have no expectations about no specific expectation about what the founding members are supposed to do. There is no such thing for me. Um, the only reasonable thing to expect of each other is that we are all as honest and clear as possible to each other about what we do and don't want to do. And I think that you have all expressed pretty clearly to me what the reality of your possibilities and limitations in time and all this stuff are. And I think we have really plenty to go with together. So at this moment, we're starting to create the Plano de Atividades. I'm just going to call it the plan for now, which is a list of what we want to do this year and a related budget, as far as we can speak of a budget. And for the sake of clarity, I think it's good to talk to you about a few things. Clarity to, that I can be clear about how it is for me and where I'm at and so. And this is the first time for me that I'm taking lead on a project like this. And, I've been in roles before where I've worked with a team and things like that, but not like, taking it up and sort of taking the lead like that. And at times it's a little bit scary for me, or the part that's scary is this idea of creating expectations and having to live up to those. And I just, I gotta, as we're heading towards the Plano de Atividades, I felt that quite strong. And I was like, okay, I gotta just speak up a bit and touch base with you. So this message is kind of about managing expectations. And the first thing that I want to say is that I feel I need to start slowly, which is, I think, pretty good rule of thumb in most cases, unless you're doing Olympics or so. But the foundation procedure has taken up a lot of time in the last 6 months, and was at times quite stressful. And I really sort of need to move beyond that to calmly get into the next phase. And I don't want to put pressure on myself and on anyone to start producing. I don't think that that's healthy. And we just need to calmly get going and work with what we have. And as I started thinking about the plan, I felt unsure if in recent months in conversations I've communicated clearly enough. And I just want to, go over this with you, what I can and want to do with Ruralis in this phase. And I want to be clear about that. So, when I started thinking about the plan, it of course makes sense. I had to go back to the beginning of Ruralis and as I mentioned in our earlier conversations and the first conversation we had, the association comes out of a personal need for a formal structure and need to bring a group together to organize projects that stand for regenerative development. And with all of you, I have talked before Ruralis got started also about and while this has been getting started, about the possibilities and shared interests and shared paths in a way. And based on that, where the need is, and those conversations, I can focus and want to focus on 2 tracks this year. And the first is to utilize Ruralis for what it was meant to do, which is to support those projects that I mentioned, and that most of you and I have been working on already or talking about for a while. And just to be very clear or concrete about that, as I'm referring to the continuation of the Microforum do Rio Dao, which was this event that Diego and I and Pedro Baila organized almost 1.5 years ago now, and which was a kind of a starting point, and I hope to continue that for a platform or a network of regenerative eco projects in the Dao watershed. And yeah, a lot of you are connected to that because of where you are and because of your interest, of course. Then there's the Micro Reserve Initiative, which is a network of small-scale conservation and citizen science projects that also a lot of you are already doing with your work and in your places. And also connecting to this, the thing that we started talking about and what Joanna put forward to organize activities on our quintas that kind of are in support of the micro reserves that we already have in a way. So then there's the Caminho do Dao, and that is, one way to describe it, is walking as a way to feel belonging, which I think is such an important thing and a thing to work on in a rural context, and the hiking network as a way to strengthen a region and the community and the way that they relate to their region. And so there's a lot of possibilities there. Then also working with our quintas as facilities for education and places where people can really connect with nature. And so that's in terms of ideas for practical projects, and some of them are already happening. This is already quite enough. And I hope that you can also see the different ways in which each one of us is connected to these, and not everybody, but and I'm also not saying you have to be, but so that's one of the tracks that I want to focus on this year. And the other one is doing groundwork for the association, for our togetherness in a way, so that we can work together comfortably and effectively. And this relates to our communication tools, IT, and ways, which then refers to, for instance, this idea to learn more about sociocracy and how that works. It also, groundwork refers for me to learning together about what regeneration really is, and maybe sharing that learning also with a larger group in our network and possibly members, because I think that that's in itself valuable work to do, to put the conversation about regeneration, bring that out there in a way. And this is just stuff that comes to my mind when I think about that, is a book club, brainstorming, attending webinars. So this learning together is something that interests me, and I think that it's also important because regeneration and regenerative practices are not something that we can expect, I think, of ourselves and others to just do. So since our mission is this regenerative development in the rural context, we better know what we're talking about, right? And what we can and what includes that and what kind of doesn't. And not to be dogmatic, but to be, I guess, as to use this potential of regeneration as best we can. So then another part of the groundwork for me is researching funding possibilities. And I really want us, when we start spending time working on our projects in this association, to create a possibility that we can write invoices for those, because that's how I want to do it. Let's put it straightforward. So I also, of course, groundwork is getting to know more about each other and our ideas about regenerative projects and our places, how those our places can facilitate that. So yeah, that's about the content of the plan, like where I'm at and what I want to what I can also put my energy towards. And so the other thing about the plan is that I started feeling this pressure to produce, and I think that interestingly it comes from, I find myself thinking about this idea of doing what you're supposed to do in an association. And I'm noticing this mode that sort of whatever gets hold of me, that I need to serve the formal structure, because that's what it asks of me right now. And that really needs to be the other way around. The structure is here to serve us. So I had to really take pause at this point, because I think I got a bit tangled up in the form and the expectations of the form of the association. And maybe this is just my own inner whatever dialogue, but I think that it is not uncommon to get confused and to become led by the form of, in this case, an association, and what an association is supposed to do. Like, when is an association a whatever respectable one or so? And I think that in a Portuguese context, that could mean that we could start thinking, we have to produce projects. We need more members. We need to build a large network of partners, etc. And well, the only thing we need to do is to work from the reasons why the association was created. And only when some of these elements of an association, members, partners, projects, serve this reason, we utilize them. So in short, the form, the outcome should follow the function. So the reason why we created this association, just like in nature, form follows function, and in most good design, if you ask me. So the last week, this is in relation to the more the idea of an association, and how we work with that, and our own awareness of the expectations we put on ourselves, and so. About functionality, in the last week, it's become clear to me that the chat and email communication should become a bit more selective, so that not everyone is buzzing phones asking for attention all the time. And I want to use the communication tools in a way that serves everyone's level of involvement. And the way we use them should not create a feeling of having to catch up. How we do that best, we'll learn over the next months. And please make suggestions if you have any in relation to that. So then, back to the plan and our involvement with it. It should really serve us, and it is going to be made up of a description of the projects and the conversations that already were in development and groundwork that I was talking about. And it is a plan. And one thing about plans is that they change. And that I hope we can be flexible and relaxed as possible with this. I think that we are all people with plenty to do, and the last thing we need is to add something that stresses us out or does not serve us in some way. And I think that as we're using regenerative and learning about regeneration in a rural context, I hope that our involvement with Ruralis can also in itself be regenerative or a regeneration of sorts. So let's just keep an eye on that together and not put any more pressure on than necessary and work from what is already there. So I really hope that this message lands well. And if you need to respond to the group or in private, please don't hesitate. We look forward to being in touch about the plan and to working together in this year. Hope it's going to be a good one. Talk to you later. Bye bye.